Hello students, today we will see urine formation. There are three major steps involved in urine formation. They are glomerular filtration, reabsorption and secretion. Okay, so first going into the three steps, we should know about some structures. They are first this glomerular filtration takes place over here, that is the glomerulus. So here tuft of capillaries and proximal convoluted tubule, here loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, collecting duct. So here we have afferent and efferent arterioles. See here, this part I am drawing here, this part is what here. Okay, so this is endothelium of glomerular blood vessel. This part, this endothelial of, this is endothelial, okay, of glomerular blood vessel, that is the tuft of capillaries, glomerular blood vessel. And this is the basement membrane. This one is epithelium, okay, this one is epithelium of Bowman's capsule. Okay, this is what the structure here. This part is endothelium of glomerular blood vessel, the tuft of capillaries, and this is this one, this part, epithelium of Bowman's capsule, and between these two we have something, no, that is basement membrane. Okay, so here what glomerular filtration takes place. So we will enter into the glomerular filtration. This glomerular filtration is also known as ultrafiltration. Ultrafiltration. Why ultrafiltration means the blood which comes to our kidney is about 1100 to 1200 milliliter per minute. That is totally 1/5 of the blood from our heart reaches our kidney. From this we have 180 liters of the filtrate through the glomerulus. Okay, so about most of the blood is filtered. So this is what glomerular filtration. So only they are ultrafiltration. And then what are the filtrate contents? They are, except the proteins and RBCs. Okay, RBCs and proteins are not able to come through this pore. Through this pore, they can't able to come through this pore. So only we have only other contents than RBCs and proteins. So the filtrate of our glomerular filtration won't have RBCs and proteins. Okay, and then after this the filtrate enters to the lumen of Bowman's capsule. Okay, and now we will go into the autoregulation, how this filtration is maintained. First we will see myogenic autoregulation. Myogenic autoregulation is mainly because of calcium channels. Our blood vessels, when flowing from the heart to the kidney, the calcium ions flow into the vessels and increases the pressure of the vessels. So as the pressure increases, the glomerular filtration rate also increases. So this is mainly because of calcium ions entering into our vessels and causes increase in GFR rate. Okay, the second one is juxtaglomerular apparatus. We have seen this in our previous video, the RAS mechanism, renin angiotensin aldosterone system. So this juxtaglomerular apparatus produce renin, and this maintains the GFR rate, that is this also increases the GFR rate. And the third one is neural control. From our neural control, this is decrease in GFR rate. they are increasing the GFR rate. This one is alone decreasing the GFR rate because they dilates the vessels. Okay. Now, what does glomerular filtration rate means? The amount of blood flows to our Bowman's capsule. That is what glomerular filtration rate. The amount of filtrate flows to Bowman's capsule. Bowman's. Okay, this is the definition of glomerular filtration rate. In a healthy human, we have the filtrate is about 125 milliliter per minute. That is nearly 180 liters per minute. Okay, so this is what our glomerular filtration rate. This is only considered with the healthy individual per day. Sorry, this is 180 liters per day. This 125 milliliters per minute means we get about 180 liters per day. Okay. The second step is tubular reabsorption. Tubular reabsorption is, so see this measurement, the urine formed is the urine released is 1.5 liters per day. Okay, if you see the filtrate formed, I told you 180 liters per day. So how much should be lost in this pathway of flowing through the nephron? That function is performed by the tubular reabsorption mechanism. Okay, so this reabsorption is done by the epithelial cells of the renal tubules. Epithelial cells of the renal tubules. So this tubular reabsorption is done by the epithelial cells of our renal tubules. By what mechanism? Active and passive mechanism. By active mechanism, we have glucose, amino acids and sodium ions to flow from the filtrate to our tubules. By passive mechanism, if you see, water and nitrogenous base. Okay, water and nitrogenous waste. So active mechanism, glucose, amino acids, sodium ions. Passive mechanism means we have water and nitrogenous waste. Active mechanism means they require energy. They require ATP, but they won't require anything. So this is what reabsorption. Then we will move on to the tubular secretion. This is secretion of metabolic waste, like metabolic waste from tubular cells into the filtrate. Tubular cells means like if you say Henle's loop and vasa recta. Henle's loop consists of ascending and descending limbs, and vasa recta too contains this. Okay, so what are the secretions? Maybe potassium ions, hydrogen ions, ammonia, drugs and etc. So these are the major secreted substances. Why they should be secreted? Because they have to maintain, because mostly they are reabsorbing. No, something they should give in return. That is acid, base and ionic balance of our interstitium. Okay. See the tubular functions. First we will start with proximal convoluted tubule. If you see in proximal convoluted tubule, they are made up of simple cuboidal epithelium brush bordered. If we have brush border cells, then they increase the surface area for absorption. So the most of 70 to 80% of electrolytes and water and bicarbonate ions are absorbed here, proximal convoluted tubule. In turn, they give up hydrogen ions and ammonia. So absorption is water and bicarbonate ions and the secretion is hydrogen and ammonia. Next, distal convoluted tubule. They are conditionally purposed for sodium ions and water reabsorption. Okay, in turn they secrete hydrogen, ammonia and potassium ions. Okay, they are mainly involved in the ionic balance, the osmotic balance. Okay, So next one is Henle's loop. The Henle's loop, the reabsorption takes place low in ascending limb. Okay, so descending limb is permeable to water, so they lose the water to the interstitium, but they are not impermeable to electrolytes. They are impermeable to electrolytes, but they are permeable to water. So they concentrate the filtrate in the descending limb. While they flows through the ascending limb, they are impermeable to water. They retains the water, or they won't get any water inside, and they are S2 electrolytes, means they are permeable to electrolytes. They loses the electrolytes. Okay, they makes the urine dilute, so they don't have any that is main action in the osmotic balance. Okay, means they won't concentrate the urine. Next is collecting duct. Large water reabsorbed to concentrate urine. Okay, so most of the water is that is the flow of filtrate is reabsorbed in collecting duct after at last. Okay, some lost some urea for osmolarity in medullary interstitium. In countercurrent mechanism we saw, no, in depth we saw that. Now these functions all we saw in countercurrent mechanism in depth. Here just I gave you the tips. Okay, so in turn they secrete hydrogen and potassium ions. So that's what the urine formation. Thank you. If you have any doubt, please comment in the comment section, and for more videos subscribe our channel.